Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. How are you all today? I hope you are always good condition. Introduce myself. My name is Rika Meilani. I am from the 4th group and we will explain you about the material is words and things, extensions and prototypes in Unit 8. Okay, let's begin the start for the first material. For the first material is about the definition of extensions. The extensions of a one-place predicate is the set of all individuals to fulfill which that predicate can truthfully be applied. It is the set of things which can potentially be referred to by using an expression whose main element is that predicate. The extension of a concept, idea, or scene consists of the things to which it applies, in contrast with its comprehension or intention, which consists very broadly of the ideas, properties, or corresponding sense that are implied or suggested by the concept in questions. Jadi, extension ini adalah sebuah predikat kata yang sifatnya mempredikat yang dia juga mempunyai potensi untuk kita gunakan untuk merujuk kepada sesuatu yang ada di banyak tempat di seluruh dunia. Itu untuk sederhananya. Dan sebagai tambahan juga, extension itu sendiri adalah pecahan atau sebuah rujukan dari sebuah kata. And then for the next material is about the example of extension. For the first example is the extension of window is the set of all windows in the universe. Jadi, penjelasan dari kata window yang dicetak miring itu, dia mempunyai extension yang rujukannya bisa mengarah kepada the set of all windows in the universe. Jadi, pokoknya mau di seluruh dunia apapun yang disebut window itu, kita bisa bilang itu adalah jendela. Dan juga, the extension of dog is the set of all dogs in the universe. Jadi, ketika kita bilang dog di sini, kita tidak peduli dengan jenis dari dog ini itu sendiri apa. Jadi, yang merujuk kepada dog tersebut mempunyai extension, yaitu adalah the set of all dogs in the universe. Dan juga untuk house di sini juga sama. Mau bagaimanapun rumah itu tingkat, rumah itu kecil. Jadi house di sini itu is the set of all house. Jadi kesatuan dari rumah. Dan juga yang terakhir, the extension of red is the set of all red things. Jadi dari kata red tersebut adalah the set of all red things. Okay, for the next is about the exercise. That is will be to you about the definition of extension. For the first exercise is, the cat I had as a child is long since dead and cremated, so that particular can now no longer exist. Is it possible to refer in conversation to the cat I had as a child? This is yes or no. Yes, that is yes. This is for the extension. And then for the next, does it follow that the extension of the predicate cat includes the cat I had as a child, which now no longer exists? This is yes or no? Okay, good. This is yes. It is correct. And then the last, new cats are coming into existence all the time. Does it seem reasonable to say that a speaker is continually updating his idea of the set of all cats to include the newcomers? This is yes or no? Oh, this is no extension because this is nothing a predicate the set of all individuals. Then for the next, I will explain you about the definition of prototype. A prototype of a predicate is an object which is held to be very typical of the kind of object which can be referred to by an expression containing the predicate. In other words, the prototype of a predicate can be thought of as the most typical member of the extension of a predicate. Jadi, teman-teman semua, dari extension itu sebelumnya atau saudaranya adalah anatominya adalah prototype. Kalau tadi extension adalah satu kata yang merujuk kepada benda yang sifatnya umum, maka kebalikannya yaitu ada prototype. Prototype itu adalah detailnya yang merujuk kepada kata prototype suatu predikat atau suatu objek yang dianggap sangat tipis dari jenis objek yang dapat dirujuk dengan ekspresi yang mengandung predikat tersebut. Dengan kata lain juga, prototype itu adalah sebuah predikat yang dianggap sebagai anggota paling umum dari sebuah predikat. To be clearly about the definition of prototype, we will see the example. For the example of a prototype, a man of medium height and average build between 13 and 50 years old, with brownish hair with no particularly distinctive characteristic or defect, could be a prototype of the predicate man in certain areas of the world. This is correct for the example of prototype. For the example is man. Jadi, man di sini merujuk kepada prototype yaitu a man of medium dari predicate man. Jadi, ada referring expression itu mempunyai detail yaitu predicate man ini disebut prototype. Dan contoh untuk prototype yang salah yaitu a dwarf or a highly muscular body builder could not be a prototype of the predicate man. Kenapa? Karena a dwarf ini adalah sebuah referring expression yang mempunyai prototype yang berbeda dengan prototype yang di atas, teman. Jadi a dwarf itu mempunyai prototype sendiri, a highly muscular bodybuilder juga mempunyai prototype sendiri. Itu yang dinamakan prototype. Oke. Okay, this is for This is for exercise of prototype. First, could a skyscraper be a prototype for the predicate building for someone? That is correct or no? Okay, that is incorrect or no type of prototype. Okay, for the next, could a palm tree be a prototype for someone who has lived since birth on a tropical island, say in Hawaii? Yes or no? Yes, that is correct. That is yes for type of prototype. And then, could parrot or other similar brightly colored bird be a prototype for someone who has lived in the rainforest? That is correct or no? Yes, that is correct. Conclusion. The reference of a referring expression is the thing picked out by the use of the expression on a particular occasion of utterance. The extension of a predicate is the complete set of all things which could potentially be the reference of a referring expression whose hidden constituent is that predicate. And for the prototype of a predicate is a typical member of its extension. Reference, extension, and prototype of all focus attention on the relationship between words and things. Clearly, language doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is used to make statements about the world outside, and these three notions are useful in an analysis of exactly how the relationship between language and the word works. Okay, thank you for watching this video. I hope this video will be many benefit for you about the explanation about the words things of extension and prototype. I hope so. This is many benefit for you and me. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for the many mistakes. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Amelia Agustin. I wanna describe Unit 9 about sense properties and stereotypes. Definition of sense properties. Sense properties can be defined as sense or kinds of meaning in the languages which contain some agreement in meaning of language in use. There are three important sense properties of sentence, namely an analytic, synthetic, and contradictory. Fulford states that the definition of analytic, synthetic, and contradictory are defined in terms of truth. In case is truth conditional of difference. Then sense is important part in either in speaking or in writing because sense determines the meaning of the words or sentence depend on the context. The sense of expression is indispensable hard core of meaning. So sense is kind of meaning. Then sense properties and stereotype have sense properties and stereotypes. In sense properties has three. First, analytical sentence. An analytic sentence is one which is necessarily true because of the sense of the words in it. And second, synthetic sentence. A synthetic sentence is one which is not analytic or contradictory, but which may be true or false depending on the way the word. And the example is, my oldest cousin is female. My brother is tall. Some cats eat wool. Then contradictory. A contradictory sentence or a contradiction is a sentence which is necessarily false because of the sense of the words in the sentence. Example like 11 are not animals, but actually 11 are animals. And cats are fish. That's actually false. And stereotype. The definition of stereotype is an idea of belief many people have about a thing or group that is based upon how they look on the outside, which may be untrue or only partly true. Stereotyping people is a type of prejudice because what is on the outside is a small part of who a person is. Stereotypes might be used as reasons to discriminate against another person or sometimes for a humor effect in many television programs. And this is the example of stereotypes substance in terms of race. The first, like slant eyes were Chinese, black are African, the Arabs are terrorists, white and slacker are Americans, the French have a high sense of art, Africans are poor, the Irish were drunken. Next is about synonymy. Synonymy is the similarity of meaning. And synonym and sentence stick to clear cases independent. One can understand one without understanding the other. And synonymy, the definition of synonymy as a relationship between the sense of word requires a clear separation of all the or closely related or different sense of a word. The sense of a word doesn't depend entirely on its part of speech. Like grammar and meaning are separate, so closely related aspect of language. A paraphrase, a sentence which expresses the same proposition as another sentence, is a paraphrase of that sentence. Paraphrase is a two-sentence or individual interpretation as a synonym is two predicates, or some semantic sets talk loosely of synonymy in the case of sentence as well. Next, sense relations to opposites and dissimilarity of sense and ambiguity. Okay, antonymy. Antonymy, the traditional view of antonymy is simple, like oppositeness of meaning, not adequate. Same words may be opposite in meaning in different way, and some words have no real opposite. Example, take is not opposite of ten in the same way as that is the opposite of life. Here, antonymy and binary antonymy. Antonyms are predicates which are in pair and between them exhaust all the relevant possibilities. If the one predicate is applicable, then the other cannot be. Another way to view this is to say that a predicate is a binary antonym of another predicate if it entails the negative of other predicate. The natural way to pair of antonyms is along the same dimension, like man versus woman, along the male and female dimension. Next is converse. If a predicate describes a relationship between two things or people, and some other predicates describe the same relationship, when the two things or people are mentioned in the opposite order, then the two predicates are converse of each other. Example like parent and child are converse because X is the parent of Y or one order. Describe the same situation. Next is gradable antonymy. Two predicates are gradable antonyms if they are at opposite ends of the continuous scale. Example like hot and cold are gradable antonymy. Between hot and cold is a continuous scale value, which may be given names such as warm, cool, or tepid. What is called hot in one context, example like oven temperatures in a recipe book. Cool will be classed as cold in another context. The next is contradictionaries. A proposition is a contradictory of another proposition, or if it is impossible for them both to be true at the same time and of the same circumstances. The definition can be naturally be extended to a sentence. Thus, a sentence expressing one proposition is a contradictory of a sentence expressing another proposition if it is impossible for both propositions to be true at the same time and of the same circumstance. Alternatively, a sentence contradicts another sentence if it entails the negation of the other sentence. Next is ambiguity. Describing and explaining ambiguities in a word and a sentence is one of the goals of the semantic theory. A word or sentence is ambiguous when it has more than one sense. A sentence is ambiguous if it has two or more purposes which are not the same sole purpose of each other. Example: we saw her duck is a purpose of we saw her lower her head and of we saw the duck belong to her, and these last two sentences are not purpose of each other. Therefore, we saw the duck is ambiguous. Ambiguous defining sentence. Defining sentence. A sentence is particular string of words associated with one particular sense. A sentence cannot be ambiguous. Semantics. Example: the chicken is ready to eat represents two different sentences. And two, we adopt a usage that has been current in recent linguistic example, the chicken is ready to eat is a single ambiguous sentence. This is essentially a matter of terminology. Um, Ambiguity in the case of words of phrase. A word or phrase is ambiguous if it has two or more synonyms and that are not themselves synonyms of each other. There are two types of ambiguous words. First is homonymy and polysemy. For homonymy is different sense and polysemy closely related sense. Next is sentence ambiguity. Grammatically ambiguous. A sentence which is ambiguous because its words relate to each other in different ways. Even though none of the individual words are ambiguous, is structurally or grammatically ambiguous. Example: the chicken is ready to eat. A question of what goes with what in a sentence can be shown by using constituency diagrams, square brackets around the relevant part of the sentence or phrase. And the next is about lexical ambiguity. Any ambiguity resulting from the ambiguity of a word is a lexical ambiguity. And the last example is the captain correct the list. Thank you for listening. Sorry if I have a mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.